Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Fordham Roundup here with the water polo team and head coach Bill Harris. Bill, you've got a 5-5 record, 2-1 in the league so far this season. How would you grade so far how well your team has played coming off a very big weekend down in the D.C. Baltimore area?
Well, losing 10 seniors, I was cautiously optimistic on this season. The 5 losses we have, I think, are from teams that are close to or in the top 20. So I was really pleased with our performance to date, but I told the boys the other night, we haven't done really anything yet. We have a lot more to do. But yeah, this is a great group of kids. They're working really hard. They're following instructions. Coach Backrack is doing a great job with them. So as far as a grade goes, I don't know. Maybe a B, but I'm a tough grader, but they're really a pleasure to work with.
The big win last weekend against Navy, you guys come back and pull out the overtime winner. What does that do for this team moving forward, kind of as an emotional kind of benchmark for the season?
Right. Yeah, well, I can't say enough about their performance. It was a fun-filled game, but lots of errors, but they showed character and they came back. And a game like that really just gives them a great deal of confidence. We have these 4 conference games this weekend, as you know. Then we're going out to California for 6 tough games in 3 days. So they're going to be tired, but they're ready, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. I know Navy is looking for not tomorrow, Saturday. What Saturday will bring. Navy, of course, is really going to dig in hard and try and regain those 2 points for a win. And Johns Hopkins also is a very strong team. We caught them maybe a little flat-footed. Maybe they had underestimated us, but they're not going to underestimate us again.
I know we talked before the season started, a lot of change in the league. We changed divisions, changed leagues, playing a lot of different teams more often. Does that bring a new challenge, a welcome challenge to see some new teams instead of the same old Brown and Harvard and St. Francis, that you get to play a couple of different teams more often?
Well, yeah, it's a whole different experience. I've never even been to some of those pools, and I've been around water polo, as you know, a long time. So they offer a great deal of challenge for us because they're not quote-unquote regulation pools. But it's fun also. I see my old friend Ted Bresnahan down at Johns Hopkins. I've known him for a long, long time. GW now is a great team. They've gotten some European players. It's going to be a long trip to Bucknell. It's different, but it's still fun. It's still water polo. And I do miss some of our rivalries with the conference game against Iona, but we will play them once this year. We used to have great rivalries with MIT and Brown, but no, it's the same but different. But it's always a pleasure to have a bunch of guys like this working as hard as they can.
This weekend, 4 home games. Obviously, that's a lot of water polo over a 2-day stretch. What do you plan on doing to make sure the guys stay refreshed and ready to go in each of those 4 games?
Well, it starts with the mental preparation on their part. I know they're going to be up for the Navy and Johns Hopkins game, playing Bucknell, which is now number 10 in the country. I told them the other day, if we get a big lead, everybody will come in off the bench. They thought that was rather amusing. But we're going to go after them and see what happens. I know Johns Hopkins played GW last week to a 1-goal game. So you can't figure out who's going to win and who's going to lose. But we'll be ready, but it's going to be tough games, especially against GW and Bucknell, who have a lot of experience and some big European players on their squads.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Bill, and best of luck this weekend.
Always a pleasure, Scott. Thank you.
We'll be right back with our player interview with R.J. Simmons. We're here with our player interview with senior R.J. Simmons of the Fordham water polo team. R.J. teams out to a 5-5 start to the season, 2-1 in the league, 2 huge wins last weekend against Johns Hopkins and Navy. How is the team feeling after that opening weekend of conference play?
We feel more confident within ourselves. It was really good wins, really tough wins, but we all know that this upcoming weekend we're playing those same teams and that we beat them once, so maybe we can beat them again.
So far this season, yourself, Jake Miller-Tolt, one of the freshmen, have been the team's leading scorers. What have you seen out of Jake so far this season that has made him so successful, along with yourself, among the team's goal-scoring leaders?
Jake's a great player. He's very confident within himself. He just came in here. It takes the pressure off of me to always be scoring. Now that we have another guy that can shoot from the outside, it just makes everything a little bit easier.
This year, the CWPA had a lot of realignment, playing a lot of different teams than you have in your previous 3 years here at Fordham. Has that made a little bit of a difference with how you guys have approached the season? Because you're playing so many different teams that you normally only maybe see once, and now you're going to see twice, and then a third time down at the conference championship?
You know what? We'll go anywhere to beat or play anyone. It's a little different, yeah, but I think it's a nice change. Not playing Harvard and Brown all those times. Those are really good teams. Now we have a little bit more of a match with Navy and Hopkins and GW and Bucknell. So it's nice, and I think it's good for the team and good for the program.
I do have to ask you, you had that game-tying goal against Navy that I think I replayed probably about 10 times in my office. Just how gutsy does it take to do that little lob shot and pick that corner like that?
I was throwing him, near side, high corners, and cross cage high corners. So I thought, hey, let's throw him something different. I know Coach Harris isn't a big fan of the lob, but in this case it worked and it paid off. So it's a little gutsy, but I thought it was the right moment to use it.
Well, I think all the Fordham fans are happy it did as you came out with that first ever win over Navy. What is that for as a program builder? Team you guys had never beaten before since Navy's been a varsity team. What did that mean for this team to beat Navy?
That was huge. Just never beating Navy, and they've always been a solid team, and to finally come out my senior year and beat them, and it was just a great feeling, and it was awesome. I can't even describe it.
Well, this weekend, 4 big home matches this week. Bucknell also in the mix this weekend, top 10 in the country. Always a very difficult opponent for you guys. What do you look at coming this weekend with 4 matches to kind of spread out what you guys are doing? Because, again, 4 matches is a lot of playing in just 2 days.
We believe that we can keep up with anyone on the East Coast as long as we continue to play well. It's 4 games in 2 days is a lot, but they had to do the same thing, so it's an even playing field, and hopefully we can sneak a few wins over some top-ranked opponents and see what happens.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, RJ, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a good one.
That'll do it for this edition of the Ram Roundup with the Fordham Water Polo team. Water Polo in action all weekend long here at the Colonel Francis B. Messmore Aquatic Center. 2 matches on Saturday, noon against Johns Hopkins and 7 p.m. against Bucknell. Both of those games will be broadcast on the Patriot League Network. And then Sunday, they'll have an 11 a.m. match against George Washington and then wrap up the weekend against Navy, 4 o'clock start. For the Fordham Ram Roundup, I'm Scott Kwiatkowski, and we'll see you next time.